and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming, everybody. We're going to get started with some celebrations and recognitions. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you. It's nice to see everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. This is our favorite part of each of the board meetings is taking time to celebrate our learners. Today we have two separate groups that we're going to recognize. We'll do both groups at the same time, and then after the second group, we're actually going to step outside into the atrium so that our youngest learners can show us their invention convention project. So first we will celebrate students from the middle school who worked to prepare a meal for the Covenant Soup Kitchen after school. They worked with Ms. Picard and Ms. Marino as part of their connections group to make a main dish, a salad, and a dessert. They did receive donations from Big Y, Stop and Shop, and the Lebanon Public Schools Food Service Chartwells program. So I wanted to congratulate these students for being responsible citizens, and I know that some were unable to make it tonight for a variety of reasons, one of which is Cody Heath. Cody's not able to be with us because he's at a baseball game. Nevaeh Hancock, Ava Hartley, Ronnie Sanchez, and Chase Stevenson are all being recognized as responsible citizens tonight. Thank you very much. Students, if you could stand up so that you could be recognized, I'll have Ms. Picard pass out your certificates.
Yay.
And the second group of students that we are recognizing tonight, as I said earlier, are our students from LES who participated and were recognized for their projects to move forward to the Connecticut Invention Convention state level. Now, if you have not been to the Invention Convention at the elementary school, when it comes around next year, I urge you to try to find some time. It is pretty amazing to see these young learners being critical thinkers, innovative problem solvers, and just lifelong learners and putting it on display. So at this time, I'd like to recognize Kai Raymond for his clean tooth machine. Kai, could you stand? Jay Plenty for his Lego vacuum. Mila McGuire for the stuffy treehouse. Lillian Huntington with her covers off no more. Tanner DeLucia and the Earth Saver opener. And Liam Sharon for the Trash Time trailer. Now, I know that was a little bit of a teaser, just giving you those titles doesn't do it justice, so at this time we will take a little bit of a break and watch our young learners describe their projects out in the atrium.
My niece. That is true. Thanks, girls, for doing that. Go ahead and shot myself over here. Very much. We're going? Well, wait, can you see that?
Shot? Yeah.
We'll stay behind and go to people's walls and birthdays. New security?
Yes.
This is nonsense. Okay.
Just write the note. Also, write your note.
I wrote it on my hands. I haven't put it, I have to be on the, on my account to put it in the
Don't you worry about what we need. Our computer just has to get some wires or peppers up downstairs. So you can check email and shit.
Yeah, you gotta get that fixed. You gotta give me a new phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it won't come here. Well, they work tomorrow, that's not good. That's worse. I think you put it. I was thinking you said you gotta make it more than 7,500 for conversation. That's like the first one.
Ready for joining us out in the atrium to see the Invention Convention projects. They were lovely, and it's always great to celebrate what our students accomplish. So our next item on the agenda is communication. We have a letter of retirement.
Yeah, so after 9.5 years working at LES, Denise Doobie is retiring. She considers LES family. She says that the administration and the staff are phenomenal, and she really feels she's worked with some amazing individual over the years, and most importantly, she's loved seeing the growth of the students that she's worked with. She's truly going to miss it, and to sum it up, she said working at LES was the best job she ever had. She wants to thank the Board of Ed for allowing her to work for the town of Lebanon. Then we do have some letters of resignation. This letter of resignation is from Jordan Turco. She's resigning from her position as a math teacher at Lyman Memorial High School, effective June 20th. And the last one we have is from Ashley Morse. She is also resigning from her position as a 7th grade social studies teacher at the end of this school year. She's deciding to focus more time and energy on her family at home. She wanted the board to know that this decision did not come easily, and she has appreciated all the opportunities and experience that the position has given her, and she will ever be grateful for LMS and the district for accepting her into the school community. It's been a pleasure working with her colleagues for the past 8 years.
Thank you for that, Andy, and we certainly wish them well and thank them for their service in Lebanon. All right, our next item on the agenda is public participation. This portion of the Board of Ed meeting is, we allocate 30 minutes. Each individual speaker, we'd allocate 2 minutes. At this point, are there any members of the public who wish to speak this evening? Jeanette?
This is the line. Nat Picard, I'm a teacher at Lebanon Middle School and co-president of the Lebanon Education Association. I really just wanted to thank the board for their tireless efforts in putting together a budget for our next school year. We know that we have had some setbacks with that, but also know that board members will work tirelessly to make sure that our students have the resources that they need and our teachers have the resources they need to support our students. So once again, we just want to thank you for all the effort that you have put in. As a member now of another Board of Education, I know exactly how hard you are working and just truly appreciate everything that you have done for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak this evening? Jamie?
Should you name and address?
Yes, please.
Jane Morick, 175 Sisson Road. I would like to thank the board for fighting for our kids. this is probably the most well put together, comprehensive, well-explained budget that we've seen in a number of years. So it's nice to see, you can really tell the amount of effort and time that was put into that. Very disappointed to hear some comments from members of the board at the Board of Finance meeting last night. It's disappointing to hear that test scores are what some people think determine what our kids are. I think we've heard a lot about Portrait of a Graduate, and I don't think that anywhere in there it mentions test scores. My kids are not test scores. Their kids, your kids are not test scores. It was very hard to hear that last night. So for those of you that are fighting and do understand how important our kids are and their education, thank you. For the other ones, are you in the right position? Because it doesn't feel like it from a parent's point of view. We can, the other side to that the comments that were made is that, we don't have the support staff to help the kids. If we had enough support staff and that was supported in the budget, maybe the test scores would be better because they would get all of the support that they need. So I just encourage those of you that are maybe thinking down that line to kind of rethink and get behind. It's hard to fight. It's an uphill battle. And when we're not united, it's just harder. So as parents, we're here for you guys too in this fight, so let us know and I'll keep showing up. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak this evening? Okay, thank you. Seeing none, we'll move along to our consent agenda.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by John, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. We do not have our student rep report this evening, so we will move right along. Is that okay, Mr. Gonzalez, unless you have a student rep report?
No.
No, okay, we'll move right along. We'll move along to our reports of our committees. Nicole, would you like to start with facilities?
Sure. Facilities met this evening. We talked about the LES ventilation system first. We are going to be scheduling another meeting with the Board of Finance / Board of Selectmen Long-Term Planning Committee. And then we do recognize that there's a Connecticut state grant for help with infrastructure in the schools, and also now there is a federal act which just came out. Andy will be researching both of them. Next, we talked about the LMHS baseball project. The platform is up, the fence is up. We are awaiting the bleachers and installation, which we predict will be in early May. And we're going to be adding 5 handicap spots so that people can drive and be closer to the stands. The LMS gym, we noticed that there's some piping, the insulation around the pipes, the steel pipes are broken, and they're kind of an eyesore, so we'll be looking at replacing it with vinyl or looking into just replacing the insulation. Next was a door replacement project at all the schools. I don't think Lyman is one of them. All doors were installed. We're just waiting the fire marshal inspection, some hinges on a door on the 66 wing, crash bar. Everything should be completed by April 21st. And the last thing we talked about was the tennis courts. There are cracks. The courts were replaced, the paving was replaced 2 years ago, and now there are cracks. Some of them are part of the warranty and some of them are not. Kevin will be talking with the company that did the work to see if maybe we can get the cost down. As currently, the tennis courts are not safe to play on, so our Lyman team is playing away games. So we hope to get them fixed as soon as possible. That's it.
Any questions for Nicole for facilities? Nope, great. Thank you, Nicole. Danelle, curriculum.
The curriculum committee met this evening as well. Mrs. Keelis Glover went over some of the new testing that's been done. The iReady professional development is happening starting in June, the ability for online or in-person training. There will also be training in August, October, and February, and all of this training is part of the iReady package. On March 23rd, our high school kids, some of them took SATs online for the first time, and GSS tests for juniors are coming up, and the SBAC testing in LA and math will be happening in May. Next was the ION platform, which is a platform that keeps all student records together, organized as one. Academics and behavioral records will be together, and this is an excellent resource for transitional years between schools, for example, 4th to 5th grade and 8th to 9th grade. Next, she gave us an update on the Readiness Grant. We have a grant for $108,000, which will cover places for 24 pre-K students, 24 students, 1 pre-K teacher are funded through this grant, as well as part of an IA's salary. And the Quality Enhancement Grant for $3,381 was also granted to us. So those are some great updates. Finally, we had a presentation from Mr. Appicelli and Ms. Fryer, one of the teachers at Lyman, regarding the senior project Pathways, which will be worth 1 credit for seniors. This project will start in 9th grade as they go through developing a portfolio. 4 of the pathways are academic research, community engagement, an internship, or a product. And some of those pathways have already been used this year in different ways. And each senior gets to choose which one. This is a great way to incorporate a lot of different skills and interests of the seniors and gets them well on their way to our Portrait of the Graduate Pillars and graduation and becoming adults independently. So that was it.
That's great. Any questions? Oh, go ahead.
I have a question. The 2 grants that we received, are those just for 1 year? You know?
No.
No, we've had them since 2008. They are a grant that we can apply for every year, so in about a month we'll see if we get that. And depending on year to year, it's gone less than 108. Sometimes the year of the pandemic it was 113. So it's very local.
And that includes 1 preschool teacher, one of those grants?
Correct.
Does that mean we're going to 3? Or we're just gonna?
No, we've always, no.
Are we growing that much? Oh, we're just gonna have to?
Yes. It's just, it's for the positions that we have right now.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions for Danelle? Okay, thank you, Danelle. John, Superintendent Evaluation.
Superintendent Evaluation Subcommittee did not meet this month. However, our evaluation process is beginning. You should have received an email from me, if you're a board member, with kind of the timeline set out, and attached would be the Superintendent Evaluation tool that we use. We have scheduled a meeting tentatively for Tuesday, the 26th at 6:30, hopefully at the LMS conference room. What we would love is for anybody who can make it, any board member who can make it, to come to that meeting with that form filled out, including the ratings and the comments. If you cannot make it, we'd really appreciate it if you could send along to probably me a copy of your evaluation so that I can share it. We can enter it into the calculations. Don't worry about the format. I think I sent it out in a Google Doc. Maybe I don't remember what I sent it out in. Send it to me in any format you can. I'll figure it out because I probably screwed it up originally. So, yeah, so I look forward to either seeing you all on 26th or receiving your information. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Any questions about the Superintendent Evaluation?
At Lyman, John?
No, LMS, middle school.
The library?
No, the conference room.
Conference room. Okay.
Questions on that? Okay. Thank you, John. Alexis, negotiations.
No report.
Okay. Maureen, policy?
We have not met, but we will. We have more things on our plate to address, and we'll take care of it before the next meeting.
Okay, we'll look for that. Dawn, safety and security. And Bruce, enrollment.
We haven't met.
Okay. And as far as governance, I will just report that last night there was a public hearing. The Board of Finance presented the budget. The budget that the superintendent and the Board of Education approved was a 3.92. However, the Board of Finance has proposed a 1.13. And Superintendent Gonzalez will continue to work to see what that will look like if it is passed at the town meeting, which is coming up. I think that it was communicated to the Board of Education that the Board of Finance was impressed with the presentation and the work and effort that had been done by the Board of Ed and the superintendent. Everybody expressed, how he answered the questions that they had asked. We met as a group. We met with the Board of Finance ahead of time, multiple times, to ensure that questions were addressed and questions were answered. And most of the Board of Finance was very grateful for that. However, for different circumstances or different perspectives, the 1.13 came from the Board of Finance. It's unclear to me how that number was determined, and more conversations need to be had. But thank you to the public and to everybody who has made comments or came to the public hearing, because what is in the best interest of our students is what the Board of Education's job is, to make sure that we are fulfilling the goals that we set to fulfill when we came together and voted on those goals. So we're going to keep those in mind as we move forward, and keep communicating with our community with accurate information to the Board of Finance. And also, we appreciate the support from the Board of Selectmen as well. And with that, that's where I'll stop that part of the conversation, but we may bump back into this piece in the finance report. So we will move right along to the administrators' reports. Are there any administrators who'd like to add to their, actually, I don't, any administrators, there we go, Jess.
Yes.
Would you like to add to your report?
I think I'm here. Nothing too much to add. We're preparing for Smarter Balance as we go into the end of the year after April vacation, and our teachers have been trained in administration, and we're preparing our students with different trainings and workshops within Mrs. Olson's classes as they begin and prepare for Smarter Balance. You'll see in the packet there's a lot of activities, special thanks to our PTA, that we are continuing to emphasize family engagement activities, and you'll see that we have a lot going on for the end of the school year, and we're looking forward to a wonderful end of the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jess. Any other administrators wish to add to their reports? Rita?
Just a quick exciting share for today. I know Nicole loves this kind of news. So today we had some high school visits to the other schools. So today we had Brenda Wilds share her eggs, and she brought Lucy Lou, and the fourth graders got to see and touch and do the eggs, and it was so interesting to hear so many students say they don't color eggs at home. So it was a great experience for them to do that with high school students. And the other exciting event is Komi Adzimawa, who is a new French teacher at the high school. He brought 6 students, down juniors and seniors, to a French class at the middle school and try to sort of like spark some more interest in the French, taking the course French at the high school level. So he's going to come by again tomorrow to a different group of students. So it's nice to see the high school students coming down into the 2 buildings today. Just all happened today. So just wanted to share that.
Great, thank you.
Can I ask a question real quick? NWEA, is that already administered in the elementary schools? Is it already done?
4th grade, yes.
Yeah.
3rd grade, yes.
Okay.
The lower grades are waiting till May.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Thanks, Rita. Josh, go ahead.
With the announcement about the SAT, Zach Johnson did a great job proctoring, and I mean, with the one-on-one program, it made it so much easier to go from pencil exams to the computers, so it went real. I don't even think we had any glitches.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I'm probably setting myself up for that.
How did the kids respond? Did the kids do okay with that?
We'll have to see on the scores.
Oh.
I think the kids are used to the
Yeah,
computers,
that's
so not like when we were doing, we needed our number 2 pencils and whatnot. I didn't hear any complaints.
I think they still need their number 2 pencils for something. Maybe doing the workout, I'm not sure. All right, great, thank you. Any other administrators? Is that? Okay. All right, moving on to our report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Sarah. First, enrollment, not much change. You see we had a very slight decrease from 963 last month to 961. We did have a family of several of our young learners move out, and we did have a couple individuals join us in the 1st grade and 9th grade. The second part of the superintendent report is the Nasdaq New England School Development Council spring projections. Not much different than what you received in the fall. Something that I would just point out, it's on page 40 of your Board of Ed packet. They continue to remind us that this pandemic it has influenced our nation's public health and economic stability, and they feel even in their role that it's too early to identify many of the factors that could impact enrollments. They do project over the next 3 years that grades K through 4 enrollment would increase by a total of 14 students, and grades 5 through 8 would increase by 4. So overall, in the next couple of years, they see an increase close to 20. Throughout the packet, you'll see historical enrollment. This one on page 42 of your packet is specific to the 2nd semester spring update, and you can see that their projections are very close. The bottom left-hand corner, that table there, they were projecting 358 kids in pre-K to 4. We have 355. They were projecting 628 in pre-K to 8. Right now we're at 624. And in the 9 to 12 band, they were projecting 331. We're at 322. One thing that I do not believe Nasdaq accounts for, though, are students that are outplaced, which are still our students but don't show up on their projections. Any questions about our current enrollment or the projected enrollments? All right. The next communication is in regards to our COVID-19 update. We transitioned more than a month ago now already away from mask required to mask welcome environment. I thought we transitioned very nicely in that process. I think everyone in the community, students, families have been supportive of everyone's individual decision. I think that was a cause for some concern, and we've done a great job of handling that transition with grace and respect. We've had a period of very low incident of reported cases. However, over the past week or so, that number has started to increase. So, I just take this time in this public meeting to remind everybody to be mindful of their symptoms, and when they're not feeling well, make sure that they're not coming to school and that they take the opportunity to take advantage of the test kits that we have available for them. We have a spring break coming up shortly. Everyone deserves to have a healthy and safe spring break. The next part of the superintendent report is a communication regarding Sprague transportation. So the Sprague Board of Education has made a decision to no longer provide transportation to students that attend Lyman as a choice school. They still, by law, have to provide transportation for our ag students. So when this decision was communicated on March 23rd, we just happened to get this communication by one of our families sharing it with us. There was no communication from the Sprague Board of Education about that. I did reach out to Superintendent Hull. He got right back to me. We had a nice conversation. Mr. Apicelli and Ms. McCarthy put together a really nice letter highlighting the importance and the value of the learners who join us from Sprague and how we hope to be able to reach an agreement similar to what they state is being talked about with Griswold Public Schools. So Superintendent Hull was taking that letter from the high school administration and my email offering to have conversation, because since they are bringing our ag students, there is a bus running from Sprague. I think it would be best for our students to just join that mode of transportation. And that's it.
All right, any questions?
I have a comment to make. So my next fundraiser is a 5K that's going to happen on May 1st. It goes around the green, and it is supporting Lyman High School, mostly the class of 2022. So right now, we only have 2 runners signed up, so any help we can get in spreading the word, I'd love to see at least 100 runners to help support that class, and then any other committees that are involved at Lyman High School. So that's May 1st, it's a Sunday. It's a very easy run, starting from the fairgrounds around the green and back again. So,
thanks. Our facilities report.
Hello again. So you'll see in your board packet on the SIP portion of the document, $13,304.67 was paid on the district door and hardware project. And a total of $2,488 was paid on an electrical upgrade. That included the sign lights at Lyman. We had to repair the trench. We had to retrench going to the school sign, if you will, because that wasn't lit for about a month. And we're working hard. That's probably about it for SIP. And we're working hard to, I'm building a list for spring break to get a lot of stuff done. We talked about the doors and stuff like that. We're going to do the IR scan that I told the board about multiple times. That's going to be done over spring break. I'm trying to get the line striping done, but they have not returned my call as far as it's weather dependent, obviously. We're doing the vision panel, the quarterly fire inspections, and the catch basins and site restoration is on there as well. The kitchen hood inspection is going to take place in the door hardware that we already talked about in the last meeting. Any questions?
Yeah, I just would ask a quick question about prepping for the summer. So we're only about a month and a half away, 2 months away from the summer projects. Just want to throw that on your radar. Maybe next month you can have a list for us on what are some of the summer projects that the district will be accomplishing.
Okay. I'm going to work with the business manager as well to try to get some summer supplies ordered sooner than later, because we're having, a lot of people are having issues getting supplies. So.
And also hiring the people that need to be hired, so we don't bump into that, like we did with the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
All right,
good.
thank you.
Thank you.
I'll put that on my agenda for the subcommittee meeting.
Thank you. All right, our finance report. Hello, Val.
Hello, everybody. Here is our March finance report. And I put a historical comparison again at the end so we can see where we were at this time last year. So we seem, overall percentages seem to be going well. We will notice we are Right now, going to probably be over at some point in our heating energy. We have purchased all of the gallons that we contracted with Dime Oil to purchase. And so we now, for the remainder of the year, will pay market price for oil. And that number has fluctuated in many dollars in the last 3 weeks or so since we hit our total allotted amount. So as we renegotiate our contract, we'll make sure to address the gallons and the usages. Historically, we have gone over, and the only difference was sometimes 30 cents a gallon, so the budget probably didn't affect the budget so much. And so we've had some high spikes in the 4s and then in the 3s at $3, and so we're going to keep a close eye on that and make sure next year we take this all into consideration when purchasing the quantity of gallons. We also want to be cognizant of purchasing too much, because I don't want to have to liquidate and sell it back to the oil company. So it's kind of a happy medium in the middle there. But other than that, I don't have any major reports. It was a quiet month for us, kind of. If anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
Any questions? No questions for Val?
I know it's a complex report, but if anybody comes up with a question later, they're more than welcome to email me. My door is always open, and if anyone has any questions about our current budgets moving forward, how things operate, I'm more than happy to help you guys.
Okay, great.
We have our two, not much has changed on the, good Lord, double pages here, get me. The trial balance you see for our technology capital account and our athletics facility. We're still waiting for the reimbursement on technology. We've been working really closely with Jock's Contact, and we had our system award management certification expired, and it didn't allow us to get the funds as quickly as possible. So I have re-registered us with SAM.gov, and everything's resubmitted, so we can hopefully get the funding as soon as possible.
It's been approved by the state.
Yeah.
Just waiting for reimbursement.
It's the way the government awards the funding. So there's a system awards management that you have, in order to receive federal funding, you have to be active, and I was able to navigate that and get us situated. So she's resubmitted it, and hopefully it'll fly right through. So we'll hopefully maybe have something for you guys in the next month or two. Be better, right? Any other questions about capital?
Any questions on that? I did notice this doesn't have to do with this year, but next year's proposed budget. In the budget, the capital requests that we submitted have gone back down to the same dollar amount that we've received, both in athletics and TAC.
And school improvement,
and
right?
So
it's the standard 100,000, 90,000,
Yes,
30,000.
the same that we've received historically. I think since I've been on the board, actually, since 2017, I think we'd have to do some close research on that. But, just kind of to be aware of, those dollars also were cut. All three of those funds, so, from what we asked. They weren't cut from what we got last year, just to be clear, but they were cut from what we asked for. And the idea was that we had additional monies, because now we are one-to-one with our Chromebooks, with our iPads, and it costs more when you have more devices, so I don't know necessarily that money will increase, so just be aware of that. I'm sure you already are.
Thank you.
Thank you. I do want, Matt is not here, but as soon as possible, I think it's important that the Finance Committee, a subcommittee, meet to discuss the implications of the 1.13. Anything else on that? Just give me some wait time. Okay. All right, so we'll move on to our action items. We have a letter of retirement.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the letter of retirement with regret.
Second.
Motion by John, to accept with regret, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Action item number 2, act on the letters of resignation.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the letters of resignation with regret.
Second.
Motion by Maureen, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. That passes unanimously. Okay, action item number 3. Mr. G, can we have some background?
Okay, I'm back. Okay, go ahead, Val. I should have just stayed here. So, as maybe you know or don't know, every public school has to have a national school lunch program. And this state document and state statute requires us to be healthy food certified. And in order for us to receive the funding for our national school lunch program. So tonight we need to identify our requirements here, and we'd like to move forward and continue to be meet the Connecticut nutrition standards and say healthy food certified. And so we'll have to, in our packet, it's very specific about how the motion needs to be addressed in the minutes and how the motion needs to be identified. But my suggestion was that we use option 2, where we use this exact language, and the Board of Ed will conduct 2 votes, whether they will plan to participate in this healthy food option, and whether the district will allow food and beverage exemptions. So the exemptions allow us to also sell additional items that would not normally be reimbursable under this healthy food certification. And so for flexibility reasons, we'd like to also make sure that we can allow those exemptions. And our food service company is absolutely wonderful at making sure we submit all of our claims for the stuff we are reimbursable for. And obviously, our staff there or their staff make sure that we do receive the money for everything that's not reimbursable. So it's like a la carte items and things like that.
Any questions on that? This is starting to feel very familiar.
It happens every year.
It happens every year, yes.
Okay, so the recommendation would be to, it's the motion language, which is on page 56 of your board packet. Motion language for a healthy food option.
That would be our first motion, and what that would do would vote to whether or not we'd like to still participate in the healthy food option.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Is it the
A lot
one
of
that's
reading.
Yeah, Governor.
Yes, thank you, John.
Okay. I think, let me, walk me through this. I'd like to make a motion that we, pursuant to CGS Section 10-215F, the Board of Education or governing authority certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. This certification shall include all foods offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups.
I second that.
Motion by John. Great job. Seconded by Maureen. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Then we move along to action item number 4, which I believe is at the bottom of page 57. Correct me if I'm wrong, Val.
I don't have page numbers.
Okay.
It's the next motion, right? Is
Page
that-
2 of 3.
Motion language for combined food and
Yes.
beverage exemptions.
Exactly.
I make this motion. The Board of Education or governing authority will allow the sale to students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards and beverages not listed in Section 10-221Q of the Connecticut General Statutes, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the food and beverage items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, school plays, and interscholastic debates are events, but soccer practices, play rehearsals, and debate team meetings are not. The regular school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food and beverage sales.
I'll second.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Maureen. Seconded by John. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that also passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you for that lengthy.
Great motion.
Right. Thank you, Val.
No problem. I just wanted, while we're on food service, I think I might have mentioned it before, this is a year where the state requires us to go out for a request for proposal. So we did a walkthrough today with the interested vendors, and you'll be hearing more as we choose a vendor and move forward to selecting our company for the next 5 years.
And let me ask a question. Do we know, have we heard if school lunches are going to be paid for next year?
I believe the only extension that's on the table is to extend the waiver through September of next year. So it would allow for free lunches in the summer, but I do not believe that they plan to allow for free lunches again next year. I know that Lebanon typically does not fall in the summer lunch program funding, so we've been lucky enough to have it for the last few summers because of the waiver. So I do believe that this waiver extends, so we may be able to take advantage of lunches again this summer, but they're looking to cancel the waiver and kind of get back to normal next September.
Okay. All right, thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, item number 8 is nope, that's 13. Item, oh my gosh, yes. Oh, how did we, no, 8. What? No, we lost 13. Okay, here we go. I forgot how to read Roman numerals.
That's right.
It's just the time of night, I promise. And we have an anticipated executive session. Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing non-renewal of non-tenured teachers and inviting the superintendent.
Thank you. Motion by Nicole, seconded by Alexis. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Thank you very much, everybody.